This is John Pierre. We like to call him JP. He works as a youth sports coach, and that's pretty cool. Today we're going to be asking him questions on critical thinking.
What do you do as a youth sports coach?
So basically, we have these youth kids that are ages 5 years old all the way to age 14, and basically I teach them the fundamentals of whatever sport is during that season. Teach them, make sure they have fun, hopefully win as many games as we can, but basically show them what the sport is to those of them that have never played a single sport in their life, and make sure they have fun, since we're a recreation.
Do you enjoy your work? If so, what do you enjoy most about it?
This job has its ups and downs, and although it's fun coaching these kids and it's a pleasure watching them have fun, I enjoy making sure they learn as much as they can while they're having fun, because since we are a recreation, again, it's all about the kids having fun. So those kids that are trying to get away from the house and have nothing to do, make sure they're having fun out there and enjoying time with their friends as well.
What does critical thinking mean to you?
To me, critical thinking means making an unbiased decision as well as thinking outside of the box in order to satisfy what you're... To me, critical thinking means making an unbiased decision as well as thinking outside of the box in order to find an action that is most appropriate for the situation. Solid.
How does critical thinking come into play when you approach coaching?
When it comes to coaching, critical thinking is a necessity, since you have to consider your environment as well as who is watching you, because you're basically on a stage. And by thinking critically, you make sure to make the right decisions in order to not only care for the kids, make sure the kids have fun, but you also have to consider their parents who are paying you this much amount of money for you to make sure their kid has fun, as well as making sure their kid is learning the right things to do.
In which ways does thinking critically benefit members of your team?
Thinking critically means making strategic moves. And when it comes to the team, obviously these 5-year-old, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids want to win. And when they want to win, you have to make sure you're making the best decisions, and you have to think outside of the box. Think critically and think about what the other coach is going to do so you can counteract and make sure your kids are winning, because kids love having fun, but they care more about winning, right? And you just got to make sure you're teaching them the right thing and make sure you're strategizing correctly.
How does critical thinking impact society?
In society, we're all different people, we're all unique, and when it comes to thinking critically, no one wants to be the same. We all have our different opinions, we all have our different views. So for one, we cannot be thinking the same way as each other. And by thinking critically, you make sure to give a broader view. You give your own opinion, and you make sure that you're offering a solution that someone may have not thought of earlier, and therefore it allows you to have a broad view and make sure that you all have a unbiased decision to come to a conclusion and solution.
We really wanted to get to know JP and his critical thinking on a deeper level, so we told him to talk straight from the heart.
The reason I work the job I work, and not only is it just a couple miles away from my house, but it involves sports, and anything that involves sports I genuinely love to do. And I remember the first few weeks I started working and I got my first paycheck, I was like, I can't believe I'm coaching these kids and having fun doing it, but I'm also getting paid for it. And then as the years went on, I started to realize, it's all about the kids, everything about the kids. It doesn't even matter about the paycheck anymore. Coaching these kids and making sure they have fun and being able to teach them on a different perspective about life is absolutely phenomenal, because you watch these kids grow throughout the years as they keep continuing to come back to the park and they keep playing. And you look at them and remember how when they were barely 5 years old and they knew nothing, and you taught them to the point where they're at now, and they know way more than they did at age 5. Even though the kids are required to play a minimum amount of playing time, when it comes down to the fourth quarter and one of my kids has sitting on the bench, has only played the minimum, and then I have another one of my kids who has played the entire game, what I would do is I'd take that better kid out, make sure that kid who is sitting on the bench plays so that he can have fun. So that at the end of the game, when he goes home and his parents ask about how his game went, he can tell them, Mom, Dad, I had a great time, I had a lot of fun, and even though we lost, maybe they won, but even if they lost, he's going to tell them that he had a lot of fun. It's all about the kids. You gotta put all your competitiveness aside and consider the kids and where they're coming from, because all of these kids have a background, they all have a past, they all have a story, and making sure each and every one of these kids comes to the park, has a lot of fun, and gets to go home and getting a break from their actual reality, it's what brings the joy to the kids' faces. And that's what I love about my job, putting a smile on each and every one of these kids' faces.
Are you thinking? Remember how we went from town to town?